Many things in our current era differentiate substantially from where we were in our previous centuries. Technology has advanced to where you can pay for a candy bar by simply touching your phone with the register. Comic book heroes you used to read about weekly are now plastered all over films on the silver screen. Job outlooks and education are a constant rise around the country now more than ever. Even music has taken a huge turn from where it used to be. Yes, the world is a much more different place from where it was decades ago, and whether that can be seen as a good thing or a bad thing remains to be debated. But one aspect that isn't talked about enough and has been on a constant decline is how women are having a certain role in our society and how it's hurting the average man. Women have been implemented with the mindset at an early age that men are the cause of many of their problems and dismay, and they are now passing on that mindset to their children and so on. This is hurting them, but also devastating to men as it's making them think that they can't do anything right. Today, I want to discuss with you why this is such a large issue in our society and what we can do to help our society as a whole by working together. Information I've gathered can be accredited to various different websites and news articles such as lifesitenews.com, dailymail.co.uk, and standforlife.net. The feminist mindset of women is stereotyping and bashing men, and it is hurting our society, and it is hurting our society as a whole. While men also have their qualities that they need to work on, this is an issue that can't go on for much longer and should be addressed immediately. But what are women doing that are hurting men so badly? In America, it has always been particularly clear that men hold a certain respect in the households as the man of the house or the breadwinner. This role is starting to diminish more and more over time as men are seeing it less beneficial to marry as they used to. According to Pew's Research Center, the percentage of men aged 18 to 34 saying that getting married is one of the most important things to do in life decreased from 35% to 27% since 1997. Women just don't want to be protected anymore or feel like a man has to provide for them. And while that provides a certain sense of accomplishment and equality to men that women have always desired, it has now gone past that and made for unbalanced relationships and dysfunctional families. Women have also been given the thought that because there are no good men left in the world, they should have sex before marriage and do other activities you would usually only do if you were in a serious relationship or married. This is not only causing men to not want to get married, but is making them disgusted in their female counterparts' actions. It is also causing women more heartache as the actions mostly end in failed relationships or unplanned pregnancies. This causes them to have even more heartache and push even more towards the mindset of female empowerment. Another big issue is marriage itself. Men are given the mindset before they even get married that their lives are over, whereas you should feel like your life is beginning anew. They feel as if they'll lose their friends, their activities such as video games or sports, etc., and even their respect. Men also fear divorce as they fear that they won't get to see their children anymore and they'll have to pay substantial amounts of money in alimony and child support, which is the case more times than not. As you can see, this is an issue that's increased even more and more over time as it hasn't been talked about very often, but it's not too late. In order to bring this issue to an ease, it's going to take efforts from both sexes. Women have to be more accustomed to the needs of men. For too long, it's only been men kneeling down to women, and it just hasn't been enough. Men also have to have patience with this. Women also have to understand that they and men have desires that can only be fulfilled by each other. They have to stop pushing men away so heavily every time one of them tries to open up to them. This can cause heartache and loneliness for both. Also, increasing awareness of this issue can provide solutions towards this problem, as it goes over most people's heads and they never even think about it. The world is becoming a much more darker place as the days go on, without this even being a problem part of that darkness. And it will become even more darker if this problem continues to be ignored. What if women continue to ridicule men and think they can take on the world alone? Men are alone and feeling like they can't, feeling motivated to do little to nothing because they feel as if the woman counterpart will continue to put them down. Women continue to uphold the power and fail to actually address the problems with them because they still feel like men are the cause of their problems and fail to address the problems within themselves. And unfortunately, this is somewhat of the world we live in today. Even some women out there who are public figures agree with this. The decline of marriage and men wanting to be married simply because women just aren't women anymore hasn't become an epidemic yet, but it will soon. This problem should be addressed before it does. So, what can we do to make for an even more merry way of life? First, women have to understand men's varying ways of life. You can't assume all men are the same just because one did you wrong and pit all the problems from that wrongful man onto what may be a good one. Men also have to stop doing women so wrong so often so that this problem won't come up. Women also need to know that men do hold certain roles in marriage and want to feel like they are providing for their household by holding a certain job and holding a firm hand on the household. Share the credibility instead of trying to be so independent. Everyone needs someone. And finally, don't shun men as your enemy. We already have dozens and dozens of problems in this world without this issue. So don't make another issue, which would probably be the biggest one, and make men and women see each other as unequal and fighting amongst each other. Men and women were made for each other and should unite together and love one another as equals. Women have to stop this thought that women can do no wrong and that there is no Mr. Right. If women would be just a little bit more understanding, this world would be a much better place. It's going to take some time for this mindset of feminism that's set in seemingly every woman's mind to come to an ease. But if we work together, we can make for an even better world and a hand for every hand to hold. Thank you. You can clap.